Welcome back to Banfield. Two snipers, one Russian, one Ukrainian, both incredibly deadly and both ladies. They racked up the kills during the war in Ukraine, but their eventual fates have been very different. Ukraine's sniper, the one on the right, is known as Charcoal, and she's still out there, presumably racking up more Russian kills and being hailed as a hero. Her Russian counterpart, however, Irina Starakova, codename Bagheera, was captured last month by Ukrainian soldiers after her fellow Russian soldiers left her on the battlefield to die. And while female snipers might seem unusual to many Americans, these two women are actually carrying on a tradition that dates back decades. For more on that, I want to bring in Dr. Laurie Stoff. She's a historian who specializes in Russian and East European history, gender studies, and war and society. Dr. Stoff, thanks for joining me tonight. I cannot wait to ask you a gazillion questions about these two women, but also the legacy that they leave behind and that they're following. It's not that unusual, is it, for Ukrainians and Russians to have female snipers?
No, it's not. Actually, there's a long history of this in both countries, which were united for quite some time under the Russian Empire and the Soviet empires. Women participated in warfare sporadically throughout history, mostly disguised as men, but in the 20th century, we have examples of in the First World War, Russia recruiting the very first all-female combat units in 1917 with about 5,000 women. And then in World War II, in the Soviet armed forces, there were almost 1 million women who served, over 350,000 of them in combat positions.
Wow. I mean, when you compare it to, women in combat in the U.S., it just seems like a whole other world. But, I was inspired when I learned about Charcoal, the Ukrainian sniper, whose other names are secret, to look back a little bit. And I came across Lyudmila Pavlichenko. And when you look at all of the stats that Charcoal has, they're nothing compared to Ms. Pavlichenko, who is considered the most successful female sniper of all time. Tell me a little bit about Lyudmila.
Well, Lyudmila Pavlichenko is actually Ukrainian. She served in the Red Army, the Soviet armed forces during World War II. She fought Nazis. She has 309 confirmed kills, so that's a spectacularly high number of kills. She was celebrated as a national heroine in the USSR, but she was also touted in the West. She came to the United States and toured with Eleanor Roosevelt, gave speeches around the country to help promote the Allied war effort. American folk singer Woody Guthrie even wrote a song about her called Miss Pavlichenko.
Wow. But here's the thing that really got my goat, Dr. Stoff. While she was on her American tour, a whole bunch of the reporters who, were men back there for the most part, back then, they asked her a lot of questions about her skirt length and her weight.
Yes, and why she didn't wear very much makeup or any makeup at all. And yes, they were very critical of her physical appearance, which perturbed her quite a bit. She shamed them, though, by saying, well, I was out killing Nazis. What were you doing?
Seriously, I'm so glad you told me that, because all I kept thinking was, I really hope she looked at these guys and said, I can't kill you from 1,000 meters. Like I was hoping she'd have some good comeback. So I'm glad you told me that. Okay, then there's this other piece of research that I came across that I wanted you to tell me about. And someone called, a group called the Night Witches, who were like flying aces at a time when you wouldn't have expected women to be flying aces.
Yes, so there were about 200,000 women in the Soviet air defenses during World War II. So there were a number of women who served as pilots, as navigators, and the women who were termed night witches by the Germans, that was actually a derogatory term used to describe them, were the women who were involved in the most dangerous night bombing raids behind German lines. And they were incredibly successful. And again, they were touted as great heroes of the Soviet Union for their actions.
Yeah, I don't know if that one on the far right has a cigar in her mouth, but she looks pretty badass. And P.S., they gave them the crappiest equipment. They gave them like planes from the 1920s that were so slow that the Nazis had to slow down their bombers to catch them. But what I found out about them I thought was remarkable. They used that deficiency to their benefit. They could glide. And because they could glide long distances in these old, planes, they were able to glide through the night skies and drop bombs without people seeing and hearing them, right?
Yes, that's true. So they definitely were highly skilled pilots. They had a very high level of technical skill. They were very good at their jobs. And despite the deficiencies of their equipment, they were able to overcome them and carry out a number of very successful bombing raids behind enemy lines.
Sisters, I love it. Okay, so the other question I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you're going to have the answer to this or not, because I feel like we're living in a time that doesn't have a template for the kind of warfare that we're seeing. But, Irina Starokova, the Russian, sniper that they caught, the one that was left for dead by her Russian mates, other soldiers, what will happen to her? What is the likelihood that she will live or ever be traded or make it back to see whatever family she may have left?
So interestingly enough, Starokova is not Russian. She is a Serbian national, and her husband is Belarusian. So they are not Russian nationals. They've gone to fight for Russia. Serbia and Belarus are allied with Russia in this conflict. It seems to me that they're fighting more as mercenaries, and as you probably well know, Russia is relying very heavily on mercenary troops, like from the Wagner group. So I don't know if the Russians will consider her to be a valuable player and will do much to try to get her released. I don't know that the Ukrainians have much use for her, but I do believe
Really?
I do believe they will abide.
No, listen, Dr. Stoff, I thought that maybe if she was Serbian, the Ukrainians would say, "You're working for us now." Simple.
Well, I guess that's possible. They just work for the highest bidder, or she might have ideological alliance or allegiance to Russia. I can't really say what her motivations are.
I am so glad that you chose the discipline that you did, because you're absolutely perfect for this story tonight. Thank you so much. Really interesting stuff.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. Laurie Stoff joining us tonight with, what a great couple of details. I'm staying on this one. I'm going to follow this mercenary and see what happens with her. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.